Hi guys, and welcome to my review of Once Upon a Time episode 512, Souls of the Departed. Or should I say, the 100th episode of Once Upon a Time. I am so excited that Once has reached 100 episodes. It's a really exciting milestone and one that I think it very much deserves considering how passionate the fan base is. I think that everyone would agree. Well, I think Adam and Eddie have made it quite evident in recent interviews that they feel like they owe all that to the fans because they were kind of concerned that they would be cancelled after the first season. They didn't know how people would take to the show. And even though ratings have kind of had their ups and downs over the seasons, it's that really passionate, excited, sort of almost cult level fan base that has got them to where they are. So as a very passionate oncer myself, I'm very, very proud that we have managed to get the show taken this far. I think that the presence on social media, the interaction between the cast and the production team and everyone on social media with the fans is what has got it to this point. And I'm so excited to see what they're going to do with the rest of 5B and with the very exciting news that they have been renewed for season 6. So enough about the kind of general Once Upon a Time joy at the moment and on to the episode itself. Overall, I was really happy with the 100th episode. My only gripe, which I will talk about now, my main gripe, which I'll talk about now just to get it out of the way, was the lack of Colin O'Donoghue. But I have to admit, and I tweeted this the other night after I watched the episode, that I have to accept that as a mad Colin O'Donoghue fan and Captain Swan shipper, we were totally spoiled in 5A. Like, we got so much Jen and Colin screen time together, and separately we got so much sort of focus on them as characters and together and apart, that I have to understand that they can't do that all of the time and that I should just be grateful for what we got in 5A. And I am. I think 5A was probably my favourite season so far, and so I can't complain really. And obviously the whole impetus of them going to the underworld, the whole point of them going to this place is to save Hook, and so if they got there and got him right away, that would kind of defeat the purpose of organising this season around it. And I feel like the underworld presents so many really exciting storyline opportunities for them to delve into that if they'd found Killing immediately, now I mean, it would have been lovely for me because I'm just like all out for a huge big CS reunion, but we'll get that eventually, and probably the longer they draw it out, the better it'll be because they won't have seen each other for a while. It'll just be wonderful. But other than that, other than the lack of Colin O'Donoghue, which I thought was a shame given the fact that it was the 100th episode and it was this huge big deal, exempting that, I absolutely loved it. By having the build up to this episode in the way that they had it and allowing us to have that 100th episode in the underworld to bring back all these characters that we haven't seen for such a long time was so exciting and really, really well done. First, I'll talk about the scene with Neil. I will say that that's another one of the things that I have the tiniest little bit of gripes about, but it's not actually the Once Upon a Time writers or producers' fault. It's just that Michael Raymond James didn't have time to commit to the show. He's busy with other projects, and so they only had I think they had access to him for like a day or something, so they really were limited in what they were able to do. So it was brilliant that they managed to actually get him back at all, because I think it would have missed it, I think, if we hadn't had some sort of appearance from him. But I really wanted a Neil and Rumpel reunion. I was really, really, really looking forward to that in this episode. I just felt like that was something that would have been really powerful and really exciting to watch, and I loved the scenes before. I mean, I really enjoy the chemistry between Jennifer Morrison and Michael Raymond James. It's always been there and I always liked it. I actually didn't do reviews pre-season 4, I don't think. So I don't think anyone will sort of know this, but I totally shipped Emma and Neil for the first handful of episodes. So the first few episodes that we saw them together in, I was very much on board with it. I thought the chemistry was nice and I liked how they kind of met and found each other. But then I kind of fell out of love with that pairing for various reasons, and then Killing came into the mix and I was sold. So yeah, I was really pleased to see him back. I think it made sense to have him talk to Emma because it meant that they could cover a lot of ground. They could talk about the underworld, they could talk about Henry, they could talk about all these kind of important things between them. And I thought that it was really nice that A, he acknowledged how much Killing obviously means to her, and B, I think most importantly, I think that it was really lovely that we could see that he's in a better place and he actually genuinely is in a happier place, and that's what you want for him because, you know, he sacrificed himself, and so you just want it to be for the greater good. So the fact that he's happy is great and I really like that, but I just would have loved to see a scene with him and Rumpel. A scene with him and Henry as well would have been great. I think that would have been so lovely, and I think that would have tied everything up really nicely. So I was kind of gutted that we didn't get a scene with Henry, but for whatever reason I was just more gutted that we didn't get a scene between Neil and Rumpel, because I just thought that that was something that would have been really worthwhile, and if they could have managed to do it, it would have been great. But I do understand that they had time constraints and restrictions that meant that they only could use the actor for a short period of time, and I think that what they did with it was very, very lovely. So thumbs up for the scene with Neil. Next thing to note is Regina. This is a very Regina-centric episode, which apparently bugged a lot of people. I don't really understand that, to be honest, because Regina is just, like, Lara Faria is just the ultimate queen. Pardon the pun, I wasn't actually referencing her as, like, queen, the evil queen there, but you know what I mean. She's just one of these absolutely brilliant actresses who plays this part so, so well. And I just feel like Regina, getting to see her in that evil queen mode again is something that I love, because I always miss that. I love that Regina has redeemed herself, and I love that she's become this totally different character, and she's grown so much as a person over the seasons, and I love that, and I love the new Regina. But I also can't help but hold a torch for old evil Queen Regina. Seeing her back in that mode really highlighted how much she's changed, and I think that that's always really useful. But I loved everything about this episode in terms of the Regina stuff. I loved seeing her reunited with her dad. I loved seeing her reunited with Cora. The Cora stuff I think is going to be interesting, and I'm glad that she's actually going to be, I think from what I've read, she's going to be appearing in a few episodes. I don't think that was the last that we were going to see of Cora. And I think the fact that she is being, I'm jumping all over the place here, but I think the fact that she is so frightened of Hades, I think says a lot, because Cora's, like, up to this point been one of the most badass people that we've met. So yeah, I think that that's going to be interesting, seeing how she is doing being the kind of underdog. So that's going to be good. But I love the scenes between her and Regina, but I particularly love the scenes between her and her dad. I thought that that was the loveliest way to kind of resolve that storyline and kind of sort of absolve Regina a little bit of some of that guilt that she felt that she'd always carried because she killed her dad. Something that did I mention before that that's something that she and Gillian have in common? I don't know if I did, but anyway, that just struck me there. But I think that that was handled very nicely. I love that scene between her and her dad and Henry, where he and Henry met for the first time. It was a little bit awkward, that sort of, like, Henry just strolled up and was like, so include me in this conversation. But I did really enjoy that moment. I thought that it was nice that they got to meet. That's the lovely thing about the underworld, is that people are getting to kind of maybe meet that wouldn't otherwise, which is something that's going to happen later in the season that I'm very, very excited about. That I won't say because spoilers, but I read about it and it made me very happy. But yeah, I feel like that was the perfect way to end that storyline. I loved seeing Henry with the original Henry, and him going off to, you know, heaven, I presume, or whatever happy land it is that I think that Neil must be in, was really lovely, and I think just a way to really cement Regina as this good character that she now has become. We had a few nice Outlaw Queen moments, not really all that heavy on the Outlaw Queen stuff. I hope that we get more of that over the season, because much as though we all know that my obsession with Captain Swan borders on concerning, I also do love Regina and Robin, and I love seeing scenes of them together when they are interacting in that way that it's not all surrounded by conflict with Zelena and all that, when they are just getting to be kind of a happy couple, which I doubt will happen because they're in the underworld, so there's probably going to be a whole lot of drama. But I really liked that they were, or Regina anyway, was such a focus of this episode. Pan being back was just, like, that sort of almost made up for the lack of the Neil and Rumpel interaction, only hopefully the Neil and Rumpel interaction would have been a happier occasion than the Pan and Rumpel interaction. But I just loved that scene. I think that Robbie Kay is fantastic. He plays that part brilliantly. He's just got this completely menacing vibe, no matter what he's saying, no matter what he does. There was a brilliant line where Rumpel sort of went to tell him to basically back off. And he was like, oh, or what, or you'll kill me again. And I just, oh, that was good. That was one of my favourite lines. Were there other lines that stuck out? I can't think of any off the top of my head, but that was a line that really stuck out to me as being one of my favourites. And he's just a great character. As I say, he's got this very menacing vibe, but I just think that he's brilliant. And again, this is one of the brilliant things about the underworld, is the fact that someone like that who has been killed off, and yeah, okay, in once there have been characters who have died who have come back, but generally speaking, that can't happen. So that's why having this setting in the underworld and allowing these people to reappear is so exciting. Another one of my favourite scenes was, which sounds really creepy, but a scene that I really enjoyed was very early in the episode when Snow went into Granny's and it's all really creepy, and then who we think is David comes in and kisses her, and it turns out to be James. Jake and Joe also talked about this a lot in their review, which I'll link in the description box below, because as you know, I love their reviews. They make me laugh every single week. They were talking about the fact that they think it would be quite interesting to have like a love triangle situation between Snow and David and James, which I hadn't really thought about at the time. I just really enjoyed the scene, but that could probably be really quite interesting to watch unfold. They wouldn't and they couldn't, because Snow and Charming, Mary Margaret and David, they are true love. Josh Dallas said this recently in an interview, which I always think is very cute, because obviously he and Jennifer are married in real life and they've got a baby and another baby on the way. And I always just think that it's really cute to hear him talk about Snow and Charming in that really affectionate way, because you can't help but just be like, oh, you guys got married, it's so cute. So I love that he's so enthusiastic about them. But he said that recently, he was like, it's true love, it's just very simple and straightforward, they are just right for each other. And I love that. So they wouldn't have Mary Margaret attracted to anyone who wasn't him, I don't think, but I think that it's just going to be confusing for her, because obviously they are like completely identical. I also think that that would be so much fun for Josh Dallas, because it's kind of like Jane getting to do the Dark Swan stuff. I think having played that same character for so long, and yeah, of course she's played James in, you know, an odd episode here and there before, but getting to actually spend some time immersed in that character and being the bad guy, I think Josh would get a lot out of that. So I think that that could be quite fun, and I hope that they use that, because that's something that's really easy to use, because it's not like they don't have access to the actor. Josh is there on set anyway, so it's not like the Michael Raymond James situation where they didn't really have access to the actor. They've got him there, so use him please. Obviously we've got like 2 seconds worth of Killian Jones screen time, which I have to say broke my heart a little bit. Not only because it was so short, but because of the context of what we actually saw. He's obviously in a very, very bad place. That is what Colin said. I read too many interviews, but Colin had said recently that Hook was in a bad place, like emotionally, physically and geographically, which I liked, but obviously he is not doing well. Whatever they've done to his eye was very distressing, and I don't want to see him looking that bashed up again. But that moment where Emma was trying to talk to him and she's standing there and she's got this hope that this potion will help them contact him and find out where he is, and then she can't get him to know that she's there. Well, as far as she's concerned, he can't hear her, he doesn't know that she's come after him. That look on Emma's face when she's just trying so hard to contact him and he's not responding to her, and he looks so lost and hurt and vulnerable. Oh, I love them so much, and I have such high hopes for nice things later on in this season, because last season we got a lot of like wonderfully adorable, wonderful moments, and then a lot of like very difficult moments. So I'm hoping that when we get through the initial kind of like, we are separated and we don't know where he is and oh, he's a bashed up mess time, and then they reunite, then I hope that we get some nice moments from that. Introduction of Hades. I think that he is going to be a lot better in future episodes. I feel like it's difficult sometimes when you're introducing someone for the first time, especially when it's someone who's going to be compared instantaneously to Disney characters and whatever. It can be kind of difficult in a very short scene to really get a grip of who the character is. I think that he played it quite well so far, but I feel like I didn't get enough time with him to really form an opinion yet. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of him in the next episode. I think that's it. I don't think that I had anything else to cover. Have I missed anything major? The things that I majorly wanted to talk about were the Regina focus, the moment with Regina and her dad. Oh, there was another moment which I don't know if anyone who's probably not as much of a total geek as I am noticed, but there's a shot, and it was when Regina was at her dad's grave, and it's when she'd used the potion that Emma tried to use to contact Kelly, and she had used it to try and speak to her dad. But there was a shot at the beginning of that scene and at the end of that scene. It was a shot of Regina standing at the grave and the sun's kind of coming through the trees, and it's all very kind of like orangey sunset glow kind of colour, which is kind of an uncomfortable colour throughout the rest of the episode because it is as if Storybrooke's kind of got this filter over it. But in that moment it was just the most beautiful shot. Actually, if I can screenshot it, I'll put it here just so you see, because I just thought that was the most stunningly gorgeous shot, and well done, bravo to the camera crew for setting that up because it was gorgeous. The fact that it was that the underworld looks like Storybrooke was something that I questioned, because I was like, how is this going to work and why is this the situation? I wondered if it was that element of that sort of like purgatory being whatever you have experienced, so like you get trapped in your own kind of personal hell sort of thing. I wondered if it was an element of that. Sorry if I've moved, my card ran out of battery and I had to go and get another one. But not because I have been talking about Once Upon a Time for an entire 32 gig card. I haven't, I promise. It's still got loads of New York vlog footage on it, so I need to clear that out. But anyway, the whole point of what I was rabbiting about there was that I wondered with the Storybrooke element of it why it was going to look like that. So I actually really like that they worked that in. So when they had Regina mention the fact that when she had them all brought to Storybrooke, the person who created that land for them, it was on the back of like a dark curse. So Storybrooke was created using dark magic, and Robin said, either Robin said to Regina or she said to him, maybe they modelled, maybe whoever did this modelled Storybrooke on the underworld, and then whoever didn't say that said, or vice versa. So either, you know, this version of Purgatory is being modelled on Storybrooke for them, or the fact that the dark curse created Storybrooke as a sort of punishment for these people that Regina was trying to punish, then created it in a form of a kind of like alive version of the underworld, if that makes sense. I kind of like the idea of Storybrooke being modelled on the underworld rather than the other way around, because that just adds another layer of creepiness to everything that Regina did in the past. But yeah, I'm going to leave it there. I think that I've covered everything that I wanted to cover. So what did you think of the 100th episode? Let me know in the comments down below what you thought, what you missed, what you enjoyed, what you're thinking about the next episode. And if you did enjoy it, please give it a thumbs up to let me know. And if you want to catch more of my reviews, remember to hit subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope that you're having a great day, and I'll speak to you again soon. Bye! He gave her that little nod and then he said it's okay, and you're like, it's so not okay. But I missed that the first time that I watched it. I didn't see the nod or hear that it's okay because I was